I, Paramita Chakraborty from Merit Splitting channel. Today my topic is breathing cycle. Serially I have explained all these things in life processes, class 10. So this is the breathing cycle. Today whatever I am coming. The breathing rate is 15 to 18 times per minute. During exercise, it becomes 20 to 25 times in minutes, means increases. It involves intake of air into the lungs, mean inhalation, okay, and giving out of air, exhalation. Inhalation, intake of air inside the lungs. It occurs when the volume of the thoracic cavity, here thoracic cavity is there where the lungs has been protected, one cavity there is lungs, becomes lower than the outside atmospheric pressure. So first point, what is in the inhalation process? If the exam inhalation process come, then what will write students? First point, the volume of the thoracic cavity. Thoracic cavity volume is increased by lowering the muscular diaphragm and it gets flattened during expansion of the rib cage. Rib cage become expanded. As a result of it, the pressure in the thoracic cavity becomes lower than the outside atmospheric pressure. As a result of it, the air from outside of the body rushes into through the nostrils, nasal cavity, windpipe and fill the lungs. It does not require energy. So it is a normal process. How it is possible? When the volume of thoracic cavity is increased, rib cage is expand, then the huge amount of oxygen enters through nostrils, nose, windpipe and enter into thoracic cavity lungs. Next, exhalation, removal of air from the lungs. It occurs when the volume of thoracic cavity is reduced by forming dome-shaped diaphragm and depression of rib cage. Okay. As a result of it, the pressure on the lungs is increased. The pressure inside the thoracic cavity is higher than the atmospheric pressure, just opposite to the exhalation inhalation process. As a result of it, the air inside the lung is forced on pumping outside. It is an active process and energy is needed for it. So it is an active process and energy is needed of it because this is process when the carbon dioxide is going out, then energy has been required. Okay. Next I am coming the lung strip air sac, the residual air. Residual air means whatever the air is has been remaining even after removal of air from the lungs. লাংস থেকে সব এয়ার বেরোনোর পরেও কিছু ভলিউম থেকে যায়. দিস এয়ার ইজ সাফিসিয়েন্ট ফর দ্য এক্সচেঞ্জ অফ গ্যাসেস. দ্য এয়ার রিচ ইন অক্সিজেন পেক্সড ইন এয়ার স্যাক. এইটা থেকে যায় এবং এটা একটা স্টোর হয়ে থাকে. ইফ দ্যার ইজ এনি ক্রাইসিস দেন ইট হ্যাজ বিন used. Oxygen diffuses from the air sac into the blood vessels surrounding them. In exchange, carbon dioxide rich in blood diffuses into the air sac. When the increase in the size of the body in large animals, diffusion pressure alone cannot deliver the oxygen to the needy tissue cells. At the crisis time, when the air sac, some volume of air will be there. When the crisis time, it has been used. Exchange of gases in the tissues. The exchange of gases in between the tissues and the blood carrying oxygen takes place by simple diffusion pressure. The red color of the blood is because of red color iron containing pigment called hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is present in RBC, red blood corpuscle or cell. It is also called respiratory pigment. Oxygen combined with hemoglobin and carried as oxyhemoglobin from the air sac to the needy tissue cells. The oxyhemoglobin breaks into oxygen and hemoglobin and the tissue cells intake it. So how the tissue cells intake the oxygen and hemoglobin? When the oxyhemoglobin that has been combined before, it has been break down. It return carbon dioxide diffuses out of tissue cells into the tissue fluid and then into the blood. Carbon dioxide is not necessary for them, so it return back it to the tissue cells and again blood. Carbon dioxide is dissolved in blood. What happened when carbon dioxide goes to the blood? Carbon dioxide dissolved in blood and transported to air sac lung for removal. Carbon dioxide is more soluble than oxygen in water. It is very important point in comparison with the two gases are actually dissolved in water, oxygen and carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is more soluble than oxygen in water. The complete process of respiration is completed in following steps. Now very important, I am telling about the breathing process, inhalation and exhalation. Now that is very important point, that is the complete process of respiration following steps. Number 1, ventilation of lungs means exchange of gases between bodies and environment. Number 2, diffusion of gases in lungs. The oxygen moves into the blood and carbon dioxide moves into the lungs from blood. Third, transportation of gases by blood to and from tissue cells. Fourth, exchange of gases between blood and tissue cells. 5, oxidation of food for release of energy. So what is the complete process of respiration? Point again I am repeating. Number 1, ventilation of lungs. Number 2, diffusion of gases in lungs. Number 3, transportation of gases by blood to and from tissue cells. Number 4, exchange of gases between the blood and tissue cells. Number 5, oxidation of food for release of energy. So these are the complete process of respiration in stepwise. Do you know the total area of alveolar surface is about 100 meters square if it is spread out. Without hemoglobin, another point, do you know, without hemoglobin, if diffusion was to push oxygen in our body, it would take 3 years for oxygen molecule to travel from lungs to toes.